What's the intersection of politics and white supremacy in history and today? First, let's talk about Donald Trump's controversial support for such groups. Did you know that during his presidency, Trump infamously remarked about the violent clashes in Charlottesville, Virginia, stating there were very fine people on both sides, a statement that garnered widespread criticism? Join us as we dissect Trump's rhetoric and actions, from his reluctance to denounce white supremacist groups to his equivocal language that often raised more questions than answers. This video offers a stark examination of the complex dynamics at play within American politics. Jefferson Davis, Confederate President, 1861. The Negro race is inferior to the white race decidedly, and whether subjugated or not, he must be subject to that race. This quote exemplifies the belief in white superiority that fueled the Confederacy. David Duke, Grand Wizard of the KKK, 1970s. We're not racists. We're not haters. We're just Americans who want our country back. This quote highlights how white supremacists often try to cloak their ideology in patriotism. White supremacy has a dark and persistent presence in the United States and beyond. What was the origin, the early roots, and the current state? Colonialism. European colonization laid the groundwork, justifying land theft and subjugation of people based on race. While racial prejudice existed throughout colonial times, but white supremacy solidified after the Civil War. White Southerners, angry about losing the war and the end of slavery, formed groups like the Ku Klux Klan, KKK, to terrorize black communities. Ku Klux Klan, KKK. Founded in 1865, the KKK used lynchings, intimidation, and violence to terrorize black communities and suppress voting rights. Currently, groups like the Proud Boys. This is a far-right, neo-fascist organization that emerged in the United States in 2016. They espouse anti-immigrant, anti-Muslim, and misogynistic rhetoric, often promoting violence as a means of achieving their goals. The Proud Boys have been involved in various street protests and clashes. Atomwaffen Division. Atomwaffen Division is a neo-Nazi terrorist organization that originated in the United States. They promote accelerationist ideologies, advocating for the collapse of society through violence and terrorism to establish a fascist regime. Aryan Brotherhood. The Aryan Brotherhood is a white supremacist prison gang primarily operating within the U.S. prison system. They are involved in organized crime, including drug trafficking, and espouse racist and anti-Semitic ideologies. Identity Evropa, American Identity Movement. This group is a white nationalist organization that aims to promote the interests of people of European heritage in the United States. They use propaganda and activism to spread their message, often focusing on issues such as immigration and multiculturalism. Now, methods of fear, violence and lynchings. Public displays of violence like lynchings served as horrific warnings to people of color of what awaited them if they stepped out of line. Intimidation, burning crosses, night raids, and threats kept people of color in a state of constant fear. Economic coercion, land ownership, sharecropping systems, and discriminatory lending practices limited economic opportunities for black people, making them dependent on the white establishment. What about laws and politicians? Jim Crow. Laws. These state and local laws enforced segregation in public spaces, education, and employment, creating a system of racial oppression. Redlining. The denial of mortgages and financial services to black communities limited their ability to purchase homes and build wealth. The silent approval, politicians, even those who didn't openly endorse a white supremacist groups, often turned a blind eye to their violence or used racist rhetoric to win elections. Here are some examples. 1896, Plessy v. Ferguson. This Supreme Court case established separate but equal facilities for blacks and whites, legalizing segregation. 1915, D.W. Griffith's The Birth of a Nation. This film glorified the KKK and rewrote history to portray Reconstruction as a failure, fueling racial tensions. The real crime of Reconstruction was that it attempted to lift the Negro to political and social equality with his white neighbor. Historian Benjamin Tillman, 1847 to 1918, justifying Jim Crow laws. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. While these words from the Declaration of Independence promised equality, the reality for people of color often fell short. White supremacy isn't just about overt violence and hate groups. It can be embedded in seemingly neutral systems and institutions that perpetuate racial inequalities. Understanding this history is crucial to dismantling these structures and working towards a more just society. Oscar the Old Guy, life coach and ALS warrior.